Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So they had the big Al Smith Catholic charity dinner, and it was hosted by the #1 Catholic comedian, or maybe #2, I think.
I think they sold a lot of kids that night, so it was a success.
Jim Gaffigan. By the way, this is the same day that they announced a $800 million settlement for Catholic diddling of children in the LA Times. LA Archdiocese had to pay out $800 million. So all the money you've been putting in the every Sunday, it all went to pay for those priests to diddle. And now it's actually over $1.2 billion that the Catholic Archdiocese of LA has had to pay out because of those. But anyway, that's got nothing to do with Jim Gaffigan. He's a very hilarious comedian, and he's a Catholic. So he actually, I was shocked because I would say that he has Trump derangement syndrome. If you watch his episode of Joe Rogan, his last one, it was almost comical. But anyway, when it comes to comedy, nobody funnier than Jim Gaffigan. And I was so happily surprised to see that he actually had an even hand. He actually made fun of Democrats and Republicans. And here's him going after Kamala Harris. Watch this.
Yeah, this has been an interesting presidential campaign. The Democrats have been telling us Trump's reelection is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true.
So he sounds like Jimmy Dore. That's the kind of stuff that my shit-lib friends in Hollywood hate me for saying. And there's Jim Gaffigan, #1 Trump hater, #1 Catholic, or #2, saying exactly what you would hear if you came to a Jimmy Dore show. Let's hear it again. There's a little bit at the end I cut out. I'll play the whole thing for you. Watch this.
The Democrats have been telling us Trump's reelection is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true. Really? It really makes you consider the power of prayer, right, Cardinal? Sometimes prayers take 3.5 years and a George Clooney op-ed.
And that's why Clooney's a billionaire and P. Diddy's in jail.
Yeah, that is amazing. I did not expect that to come from Jim Gaffigan because he's been so anti-Trump and so loud about it. And, my critique of that was I was always like, what would be more helpful is if you critique Barack Obama's policies and Hillary Clinton's policies that made people so desperate that they would vote for Donald Trump in the first place. And you know who else shares that opinion? Michael Moore. Michael Moore gave a big speech in 2016 about how the Democrats have turned their back. Well, all you have to do is read a book. Read Listen Liberal by Thomas Frank. Read any book by Chris Hedges. You'll see how the Democratic Party has turned their backs on workers. Both parties have. Which is why Donald Trump appealed to the working class people. They wanted to make it out like they were racist, but a lot of those voters voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary, and then they voted for Donald Trump. A lot of those voters voted for Barack Obama, then voted for Bernie Sanders, then voted for Donald Trump. So it would be much more helpful, but I know it's much more, it's damaging to your career in Hollywood if you actually criticized what gave us the conditions that made people desperate enough to vote for Donald Trump in the first place. What was it? It was Barack Obama kicking 5.1 million families out of their house while he made sure that the bankers got their bonuses during the economic crash, which was engineered by Wall Street. Or how about he took us from 2 wars to 7? How about he gave us a right-wing healthcare plan that didn't really help people? How about all those things? How about he dropped more bombs than George Bush? And so that's what would be actually more. So that's what I did. But then a lot of people woke up when Donald Trump got elected and they thought Donald Trump was the problem. No, the problem was the system that made the people desperate enough to vote for Donald Trump. That's the problem, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't do anything different than any other Republican president in my lifetime.
Except for prison reform.
Except he actually did something good. He did the STEP Act, which let black people out of prison, which Joe Biden put in prison, and Kamala Harris. So anyway, that's just my little soapbox. And
well, you don't need to go through all that. How about this? You're really mad about January 6th, right? That way almost oversees the election. And then they cooed the guy that you were mad that he almost got cooed. So unless you're like, I would say Jim probably didn't look at nothing other than he was genuinely mad about that. And then this is so in your face. Oh, I'm supposed to be mad at, like, Larry David. I didn't even think of this when we watched it.
Me
Larry
neither.
David.
You're supposed to be mad. You're supposed to be mad at January 6th. You're not mad at the coup they just did on Joe Biden.
And now Trump's getting in because if you're such a threat, why would you pick Kamala Harris? Are you stupid? You had all these other Democrats that I don't even like, but they're better than them.
Right.
But they wouldn't go with that because they wouldn't be 100% puppets. So even a moron should be able to see this. It's probably him just being consistent with his own values, honestly.
And either way, I applaud Jim Gaffigan. And here's another joke he made at her expense.
The media has begun discussing the phenomena of secret Trump voters. I don't know if you've heard about this. People who publicly say they would never vote for Trump, but then when they go in the voting booth, they do. It's a small group. They're called the Biden family.
Pretty solid.
Pretty solid. Very hilarious. Here's I got something else in this. Let's see what this is.
You know, this event has been referred to as the Catholic Met Gala. 22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here?
Wow.
I mean, consider this. This is a room full of Catholics and Jews in New York City. This is a layup for the Democratic nominee. I mean, in her defense, I mean, she did find time to appear on The View, Howard Stern, Colbert, and the longtime staple of campaigning, the Call Her Daddy podcast. President Biden couldn't be here tonight. The DNC made sure of that. I guess I'm the only one that reads history.
Wow. He literally must be. He's the only. I think he might be.
I like that they even invited. I don't know if you could see. Let me.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
That's who that is.
Yes, Ebenezer Scrooge. They brought him back from the Dickens novel.
Who's the lizard man over there down next to the black lady in the front row?
Oh, that's
right. That's Michael Bloomberg.
Oh, I thought that was one of those conspiracy things where they show the guy morph into a lizard on camera, and you're like, is that real or a camera thing?
He does look like he's morphing into a lizard.
I mean, he's in lizard form. There was no morphing. He showed up in that form.
So, final verdict, bravo to Jim Gaffigan, who...
surprise of the night, because I watched the whole thing. I only watched Trump's part to see if he did any of my jokes, and he didn't.
He didn't?
Ah!
Well, good. I get to do them then.
Yeah. You didn't do one. You can take them all.
My favorite was the one about Trump was supposed to say, Letitia James is here.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
That's weird. I mean, weird for her. It's hilarious for me.
Hey. She's like getting her shit overturned in this bar. She's going to show up to chuckle with Trump at the thing. Wow.
Anyway, good job, Jim Gaffigan. And
my favorite is I don't want to say Jim's too white, but if he tied a string to his finger, Tim Walz would provide him for free in men's rooms.
That was a great joke, too. Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.